Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. And for today's video, we're going to have probably the first card previews of the coming Dominaria United set, in which we made a live stream episode earlier this morning, probably Thursday at their standard time, and we're going to check on not on the all of that product previews that was including the commanders and other news from the set, but we're just going to have what the variant card image gallery is going to have on this. Aside from this, we call it as the variant card image gallery. They also have the regular card image gallery, in which all of the new cards and the standard, regular frame art was added. So we have these variant cards and promos revealed. So we have Black, the Evil Sleeper. So this is a one to cast human, 1/1 human, in which the likes of Figure of Destiny and Ascendant Spirit, in which you can pay you black, it becomes a 2/2 human cleric creature, and after that, when you pay one colorless and one black, if the Evil Sleeper is a cleric, put a death touch counter on it and becomes a protection human cleric with base power and toughness 3/3. So after that, if was probably called as the second level, when you pay one colorless and one black, upon checking that if it is a sleeper, sleeper is a protection, put a Pasumasan counter on it. It becomes basically 3/3 with the Pasumasan counter, and then you draw a card and you lose one life. So basically, it evolves probably the same with that of Figure of Destiny, except that it is one power and toughness less, because as upon paying 2 extra mana after it evolves into a 2/2 cleric, it just becomes a 3/3 protection human cleric with the toughness. But at least it becomes a good mana sink in the late game, with becoming a Pasumasan counter bigger and drawing a card and losing one life in that setup. So this is the extended full art version, not really full art, extended art version. Aside from the root of this is the basic, just the basic frame, and it's the two version of this card. Now for the red, we have 3 cards that was revealed. Start with the Jaya Fury Negotiator. This is its alternate art. This is the probably extended borderless version. The borderless version of the card. So for 4 mana and 4 starting 4 loyalty counters, we have her version of 4 abilities. So the plus one is creating a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess for the +1 ability. Then for the -1, we have exile the top card of your library, the top 2 cards, and then choose one of them and you may play that card this turn. So basically a good filter for example, when you filter out extra lands, then you just play out one of them, or you might need extra lands to play. Then that's the good option. Aside from the usual stuff we're in, you may cast that card. So the term is casting and playing is very essential, since you can have cards to lands that you can play instead that you can cast. So this is also a good ability of it. And the second minus ability, the -2, you choose target creature and opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, the Jaya Fury Negotiator deals damage equal to the number of your attacking creatures to that creature. This might be a tricky removal spell or removal effect on its setup, but at the least, being in an aggro deck, so I'm pretty sure Jaya will fall in the mono red or red green based aggro creature setup. And you maybe you could just curve into her for the first turn. You choose a creature of the you cast the Jaya prior to your combat step. You -2 the ability, and then choose a creature that maybe a relevant creature that opponents controls, and then you attack with your guys. And basically deal the damage equal to the number of attack creatures to that creature. So that basically how the setup of their -2 ability, in which you can maximize to make it as a good spot removal if you be able to curve out in the creatures starting on your first turn as you go with an aggro for this build with a Jaya Fury Negotiator. Now lastly, her -8 ability, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy that twice. So basically good copy effect, and you may choose new targets for that copies. Basically, if you're good in the setup, probably in that build, you'll have Jaya Fair Negotiator as the Planeswalker in a blue-red, probably blue-red mid-range spell deck, in which just basically up, putting more 1/1 red more creatures tokens with prowess until you reach the -8 or the 8 loyalty. Basically, that's about 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 turns or 5 turns after casting it. And you get to activate her emblem. So basically, having several spells to protect it in the process, but you also have 1/1 red monks that can block creatures if needed, and also good to go aggro with the ability because those monks has prowess, so whenever you cast your instant or sorcery spells, yet those creatures get plus one at any turn. So when having to get to set up the emblem, basically it's win more, basically game over for most opponents if you're able to copy twice direct damage spells or spot removals that can deal damage to any targets. So basically good setup with her. This is also good Planeswalker card overall for the set. Now we move to Shivan Devastator. I think this is also a good mythic inclusion. This is the borderless art version. I think the regular frame is different, so we might want to check it later after this. So for X in red, you can pay X counters. It then enters the battlefield with X +1% counters on it. It also has flying and haste. So it is a good drop for 3 drop. It becomes just a 2/2 flying haste. For 5 drop, it becomes a 4/4 flying haste. And also in the late game, as you draw it and you have more mana access available, you can basically have more mana sink on it and becomes bigger and bigger with flying haste and evasion. It basically a good evasive direct damage or in the setup you can invade more and can attack on its turn and make it a huge attacker in the late game. And also what's interesting, it becomes Dragon Hydra. It reminds me of the Hydra creatures from Teros, wherein they can also able to attack, but their drawback is just they are not flying, but their advantage is that they are protection from blue and they can't be countered. So this is an interesting take for a Dragon Hydra deck for red, as it becomes a good mana sink and also having invasion and haste in its ability. So last for red, we have a card with Temporal Firestorm, a 5 mana cost sorcery with kicker, white and colorless, and or white, blue and colorless. So choose up to X creatures and or planeswalkers you control, where X is the number of times this spell was kicked and those permanent faces out. The temporary feature deals 5 damage to each creature and its planeswalker. So this is basically a 5. Reminds me of burn down the house. Burn down the house. It deals 5 damage to each creature and planeswalker. But the good thing is when you get to kick it, you can have X targets planeswalkers you control. For example, if you keep it once, you can choose one creature and planeswalker or planeswalker you control to face out, so it would not be affected by the damage dealt. So the option is you can basically kick it for 7 For white, or if you maximize the kicker ability, it becomes a 9 mana cost spell with a kicker for blue and white. So basically just a way to protect your own creature for its 5 damage ability, but in its general value it becomes a 5 to cast sweeper with 5 damage to its creature and Planeswalker. So nothing really fancy here, except that it's good art with Jaya, Ballard and Dates. I mean, think that is Teferi in the background. This is the borderless art version of the card, and we also have a regular frame for different art for this. Temporal Firestorm for red. And lastly, for green, we have Llanowar Loam Speaker. I think this is the buy the box version. This is the art for the buy the box. This is the borderless borderless version of the card. So it's 2 to cast 1/3. Then you add 1 mana colored, but you also have an option to tap target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. But you can just be able to activate this sorcery. So aside from having a 2 mana drop to ramp up your mana, you can also produce an attacker its own. So still an ordinary card, but I like that it has the value to have another attacker for manual lands in the late game. It's the last Voyabox version and borderless extended art. Last but not least, we have to check on the basic lands art with full art versions. Plains, island, swamp, and mountain forest. It's really cool. See my glassy effect. It reminds me of the history of Dominaria art, or in the glass screen structural design. So I think this is still a good take for the full art lens for the upcoming set. So going with this, I think this still we would expect more for the Dominaria United to have more of the features that we can use for standard as it becomes another core set to have in the post rotation. So that's about it for this video. I do hope you like for more MTG content. Pardon this. Like to check more for magic updates and stuff. You can subscribe to this channel for this setup. So that's about it. Until the next upload video. Thank you for watching.